Good afternoon, I am Pete and welcome to the Royal Ascot preview, also known as Risk for Rewards over on Twitter. I've split the two videos, so this is day 4/day 5. I thought it'd be easier just to keep it shorter for everyone who is looking to tune in ready for Friday. Friday, I have had a good look. I am going to be disappointed if I don't get any winners, but then again, it's Royal Ascot. They're hard to come by, and I've been disappointed many times before. But I am confident that hopefully we can get a winner or two, and I'm going to run through a few stats as we go. But let's just get straight into it. This is being recorded at 20 past 11 on day 3, so Thursday morning. So the prices are as of then. I can't hold a price. All I can do is deliver a price. This will probably be on YouTube before 12 o'clock. So anyway, 2:30, the Albany Stakes. So it will be time stamped, all the times of the races below. So if you're looking for a specific race, you can just hold the stamp and move it across. If you're not following already, please subscribe. The content's going to be like this, free and all video content for the next 4 months till we get to the jumps. So over 2,000 subscribers now. So thank you very much to everyone who's subscribed. And likes are always appreciated. If you've got a nap of the day, throw it in the comments below. Let's get to it. As you can see, I'm pretty pumped for today. So 2:30 Ascot, the Albany Stakes. Yeah, okay. We don't like to obviously go through and say, oh, we'll back a favourite, but the two horses that sat in the market were Mountain Breeze and Fairy Godmother for the last 4 weeks, both 5-2. The problem is that since then, Fairy Godmother's gone 7-4, Mountain Breeze has gone 10-3. The problem is that, well, what you think is, okay, well, they look to stand out. Instead, we'll just back Mountain Breeze. Problem is with Mountain Breeze's form is just not worked out anywhere you look. All of the horses in behind in the last run, the Newmarket, the novice race that looked very strong at the time, all of them have been thumped. Like, not just a little bit. Like, a prime one would have been New Charter, who went to, I believe it was Epsom last time. No, Salisbury. New Charter 4th at Salisbury. I mean, and before that, 7th at Epsom. Like, that's two massive thumpings. So I just don't like the form for the Mountain Breeze. As simple as that. I haven't got any sort of negatives to say you definitely can't win. And this is a race that obviously both O'Brien and Appleby have won in the past. Well, O'Brien won it 2 years ago with Meditate. So anyway, let's have a keep looking down. So Twarfeg, I thought was very interesting. Holly Doyle and Archie Watson. Archie Watson knows how to train a 2-year-old and knows how to train a 6-furlong sprinter. So very interesting. My only issue was when I watched back to his races, he was very, very exuberant, like very strong, raced on the bridle, out the gate. He'll ping out the gates and he'll be away. But my worry would be about him doing something too much too soon in a race where you're going to have to stay all the way home. So he was dismissed for me. Burning Pine, obviously American, I'm not going to go into it. One at a bigger price was California Dreamer. Everyone goes straight to the fact that because they've been beaten by the favourite, was beaten by Fairy Godmother, automatically can't win. But California Dreamer was travelling very, very well at the 5 furlong point and almost at the 5.5 furlong point. It was just a fact she got picked up late on by Fairy Godmother. That was only her second run, so there's nothing to say she won't sustain that for a longer period this time. So if you're looking for one at a bigger price, 20-1 should be my one at a bigger price. The two that I really like though, the two O'Brien horses, no shock there. However, one of them's 10-1. So Heaven's Gate I thought was so impressive. The more times I watch it back, the more impressive I thought it was. The form I don't really know yet because you're looking at a lot of horses in behind that have only had 1 or 2 runs. January's came out since and won since, so the form's not looking too bad. But I just thought Ryan Moore left her with plenty of work to do, and she picked up and stayed on well. And I just thought it was very impressive. I think she was standout, and I could have easily seen that. If Fairy Godmother wasn't in here, she would have been the Aidan O'Brien's first string, and she would have been very short in the betting, probably about 4 or 5-1. The problem is with the Fairy Godmother is she's looked mighty impressive. She overturned the form from debut with Sparkling Sea, but what's more significant is she won the Coolmore Fillies Sprint Stakes. The race that she won there, when she actually won it incredibly well from Sparkling Sea. She had Sparkling Sea in second, who she obviously reversed the form with. In third was California Dreamer, who I said travelled very strongly into the race. That race threw up the last 2 winners of this race. And that was Meditate and Porta Fortuna. So, I mean, you don't get a better guide for coming here. So I think Fairy Godmother is going to be very hard to beat. So in summary, I think my two selections are going to be Fairy Godmother, and I'll have a saver on Heaven's Gate. But if you don't want to back short ones, then I was just like, if you want to forget the favourites in there, for me it's hard to forget, especially with the fact that race that they've won previously has thrown up the two winners of this race. But if you do want to forget about the favourite, the two for me will be Heaven's Gate and California Dreamer. I think you'll get a good run for your money from those two. So on to the 305, the Commonwealth Cup, and unfortunately it is looking like I'm going to be fairly boring with this. One that if you do want a massive price, Military is 50 to 1, well probably about 40 to 1 or 33s now, but Military, Ryan Moore and Lane O'Brien horse, only entry in the race. So I'm not saying it's going to win, hasn't got the form to win, but it's just very, very interesting. Another one, Orne. I think Orne got supplemented by John Gosden. And the fact that horse had finished second behind Inner Sharing, that says how highly that John Gosden's camp must rate Inner Sharing. Was beaten 3 3/4 lengths. Hard to see how they turn the form around, but at 25 to 1 could be one who runs a big race. But I do think the front two in the market. Obviously, you look at Inner Sharing, the Haydock Sandy Lane is a strong piece of form. 2,000 guinea runners dropping back in trip to race here is a positive. Little Big Bear won the Sandy Lane last year, which is the race that Inner Sharing won on prep at Haydock, and then finished second here. Quiet Reflection did the double, won the Sandy Lane and then won here. So it is a very strong, good trial, even though it was on soft ground. This horse already shows it handles good ground because we saw how well it went in the 2,000 guineas. Again, looking at previous form from last year, Inner Sharing thumped Kalpana. Kalpana is currently getting very well backed for the Ribblesdale on day 3. So if Kalpana's won, that's another form boost for Inner Sharing. I just think, despite it being 9 to 4, 5 to 2, very, very strong positives. The horse that I'm actually going to have my main bet on is Elite Status though. Elite Status was sent off, I think, was it 7 to 4 to win the Norfolk Stakes for Carl Burke. Absolute pocket rocket of a horse, had absolutely hammered them at Sandown and looked a superstar in the making. The problem was for Elite Status on the day was the fact that went out there on, I'm not saying on the wrong side of the track, but not hit the front too soon, but was just made a lot of. Wasn't hidden away. It was almost like they knew how good it was, and it was like bounce out and let's go. But didn't pick up the grade 2 on that day, but bounced back and then won a grade 3 the next day. Tailed off the rest of the season. Carl Burke said that things didn't really go right and went downhill after that. But at the end of the day, it's bounced back with absolute vengeance. Would have had work to find with Van Dijk, but obviously Van Dijk's not in the race. And the horse, the race that Elite Status won was the Carnarvon Stakes. The Carnarvon Stakes last time out has got a really good strong form lines into here. Not with the horses that they beat, but the fact that out of the last 3 renewals, it's thrown up 2 Royal Ascot winners. Creative Force won the Carnarvon and then won the Jersey Stakes. Shakir won the Carnarvon and then won here. So it often throws up the darker horse in the race. And I just think Elite Status, the process, I love that they were given for this horse. To be sent off 7 to 4 for the Norfolk is such strong confidence behind the horse. And he just looked so good. I know he was beating Relief Rally, that a lot of people have all said was a 2-year-old, but he also beat A Day in Devon, who's franked the form since. And I just think at the prices, Elite Status is the one for my main bet. Inner Sharing's been supplemented for around 45 grand. If you were sure that Elite Status was that strong, then you wouldn't bother of throwing in Inner Sharing. So what I'm going to do is I'm not saying put 3 points, but just it's the easy way to explain it. I'm going to have 2 points on Elite Status and I'll have a point in Inner Sharing. As long as it's 2 to 1 or bigger, I think you'll probably get 5 to 2. You may even drift to 3 to 1 on the day. As long as you're getting at least that price, you'll get your money back and maybe a little bit of profit on side. He's currently about 5 to 2. So if you back that in that sort of manner, you'll get your money back. I know it's boring just staying at the front of the market, but I looked through the others like Jasor, Starlust. Like, yeah, they've got pieces of form, but they were like, Jasor was thumped last year by, like, you talk about Elite Status going off the boil. He had excuse for going off the boil. Jasor was last in those races, so no chance. And Starlust was, I believe, was a handicapper last year. Very strong run on return. And yeah, I could go through loads of these, but I'm going to keep it simple. And the form, as I've said, the Carnarvon Stakes and the Sandy Lane Stakes are the two best form lines going into this race for previous winners, and they're the two to focus on. So elite status main bet in a share and a cover. On to the Coronation Stakes. This would have been my bet of the week if the race had held up, like as in the price had held up, but it hasn't, unfortunately. Opera Singer I put up at 4-1. She was 5-2. I thought that was fair. And then, unfortunately, because Fallen Angel came out, she's now 13-8. Again, I could see this being a race where, yeah, okay, if Aidan O'Brien clears up on day 3, she gets shorter, but I could see this easily. This is a very good race, and I could see her being at least 2-1, potentially bigger on the morning, maybe boosts out to 5-2. I could be completely wrong, but I just think this is such a good race, and I think if you're coming to this race now at 13-8, like that's skimpy in the quality that's behind. I'll talk from the back outwards first. So let's just have a quick flick through the favourites. So 20 out of the 24 horses have been 6-1 or less to win this. 12 out of 24 renewals, the favourite or joint favourite, have won this race. And it also pays to be drawn high. High is actually where you want to be. 10 out of 13 are drawn in the higher half. So say there's 12 runners, say 7 and above. And 3 out of 10 winners were drawn in the widest stall of all. So Opera Singer, normally you'd be worried about the draw, but Opera Singer drawing 9 of 10 is actually a positive. And I'm not sure Devoted Queen's running, so it could even be even more positive that she could be in the furthest draw out there. So of the rest, I'll talk about Opera Singer first. So, See the Fire flop last time, got a bounce back, wouldn't be surprised if it did. Content, I loved. Content, especially out in America, was staying on all the time in that Breeders' Cup race. And Ryan Moore even said himself, if he'd got her going sooner, then he would have won that race. And I'd agree. She ran no race, but she was very much like Henry Longfellow. You could tell it was a prep. The market drifted her out. She was almost 7-1, having been the favourite for the race over in Longshot. She didn't run too bad. She just ran very keen, and I could see her going well. If you want one at a big price, she'd be it for me at 25-1. But I do think she'll be seen to best effect when maybe she gets 10 furlongs. At the same time, I did say she wants a mile, she wants rattling fast ground, and I think she's one to go at a big place. Rahaya is very hard to get a handle on because she's been doing a lot of her running on soft and heavy ground. She obviously won the Pouliche, which I believe is the French 1,000 guineas, and she was not impressive, but she got the job done. But I look at the form in behind. You've got Kathmandu for Brian Meehan, who was well beaten over here in the UK in the trials. Vespertilio, who obviously got thumped by 7 lengths in the 1,000 guineas. I just think that horse is behind. Porta Fortuna was my English 1,000 guineas horse. Loves fast ground, wants the mile, very much so in her favour. Will run a race. I'll just be disappointed if there aren't better horses in here to better her. I'll also be disappointed because obviously I backed her for the 1,000 guineas at 16s, and now if she was to turn me over here, Amalka, you could argue easily that it's the wrong price, because how are you getting 9-2, 5-1 for a 1,000 guineas winner? If this was Aidan O'Brien's horse, it'd probably be sat here at even money. But at the same time, I'm not saying it was a fluke. I just thought she had to do plenty in the race. But I think the race just fell into her lap in the fact that some went off too fast, some were a complete no-show, and she just stayed on like an absolute trooper, passing horses. I know Connections have always thought an awful lot of her, and that they thought that she was a good horse as a 2-year-old. So to see her do that, obviously she had one run where she was very moderate, and then to bounce back and then to win that, and she won it well as well. I know she got up on the line from Porta Fortuna. But yeah, she's respected. But the horse, obviously, everyone saw. The eyes popped out with Aurélien Lemaitre was Ramatuelle. Like, I think you could have run the Guineas 10 times, and I think she'd at least pick 2 or 3 of those up. They just went way too soon. Like, I don't get. I mean, obviously, I don't ride horses, so I don't know. But like, he was sat there at the front, and he had no reason to kick on as early as he did, and he misjudged it, and at the end of the day, it is what it is. But for me, I would have loved to have seen her in the Commonwealth Cup. Straight away after the race, when they were deflated and they were saying she'd been beat or whatever, they spoke straight away about going back down to 6 or 7 furlongs. And that to me is a red flag for the mile. But I didn't think she didn't get the mile. I just think she was beaten by horses staying on because she'd been overused in the early stages. So as you can see, like, as much as I like Opera Singer, I can make a case for any of these. And if I wanted to just fly it to bigger prices, I could easily say, right, well, Content at 25s, Ramatwell at 4-1. Problem is, I've set my flag with Opera Singer. She was the horse that, of all the horses last year, the one horse I took out from the fillies and mares was Opera Singer. She blew me away when she was good at the Curragh, but she blew me away in the Marcel Boussac. And she was so good. I know it's registered as good to soft that day, but I'm pretty sure, if I remember back, like the ground was absolutely rapid, like as in it said good to soft, but it was definitely closer to good, edging towards good to firm. And it was the same car that Rosalian won on. I'm pretty sure he broke the track record. She was absolutely electric that day, and I was gutted when she didn't go to Breeders' Cup, because for me, I know a lot of people saying maybe she wants a bit of cut, but I think she wants fast ground. She's a Justify. I think she wants fast ground, and she wants the mile, and I think this will be her all over. I think I could see her stepping up further in trip as the season goes on, but not just yet. So on her comeback run, I know a lot of people say, well, you're just assuming that she's going to improve for that comeback run. But Aidan O'Brien pretty much stated, it was almost to the stage where he was saying that, well, he openly said, I have to run her if she's going to make Royal Ascot. She was behind in her work. She'd only been in training, I think she'd been in training 3 or 4 weeks prior to that. She was miles behind, and I'm surprised she didn't drift more, because she was sent off 7-2. They made no secret that she was going to struggle, but she was only beaten 4 3/4 lengths by Fallen Angel. Fallen Angel obviously finished 6th in the 1,000 Guineas, so you could argue, well, she was well beaten behind Amalka and Ramatwell, but I don't really read the racing like that. And Opera Singer, when they say they need a run, they need a run. And we've seen, again, I go back to, I'm not going to harp the drum, look at the likes of City of Troy, August Rodin. These horses are improving 10, 20 pounds. And I could see her coming right back to her best, Marcel Boussac, and possibly even better. And yeah, okay, there might be a horse in here that is better than her, but I'm willing to go with the fact that they're not. And I quite simply, I was blown away, and I'll be disappointed if she's beaten here. At the same time, it's a price game. I would be waiting. Obviously, I backed her at 4-1. I won't be going in at 6-4, 13-8. I'd be waiting, and if you haven't backed her and you want to back her, I'd be waiting till tomorrow, and I'd expect her. I could be wrong. She might get shorter and shorter, but in a race of this depth, a lot of the people who have got columns or paid tipsters or big columns and stuff, they're going to go for something outside of her probably, because they're going to want to go for something with a bigger price. But at the end of the day, your value only counts if you get it over the line. So I could back, say, Amalka or Ramatwell at 4-1 each way, but you're still losing money if they place. I know, obviously, I don't want to go into the value perspective. So for me, I'm going to keep it simple. Opera Singer is still the one that I like. I wouldn't be surprised if you want one at a whopper price, I'd go for Content. And at the front end, I would be no surprise to see Ramatwell. She's going to bump from stall 1. If she gets out fast under Oisin, then it's going to be her to catch. But I just think that could set the race up for Ramatwell, for Opera Singer, and I'm hoping she's going to win this on route to bigger things. Right, Duke of Edinburgh. 425 Royal Ascot, Duke of Edinburgh. I'm going to go into a few stats, because the way the market's made, I think the stats are important that I bring up first. So let's go. So stats are age 4 or 5, arriving off a win, drawn in double figures, all positive. The last 9 run-ins of this, the last 13 run-ins of this, all 13 have been in a stall 9 or higher. So basically, if you're looking at stalls drawn, let's go to the odds. If you're looking at stalls drawn in 0 to 8, so if you're drawn stalls 1 to 5, of the last 50 horses, 0 of 1. Stalls 1 to 8, of the last 80 horses, 1 from 80 is 1. So I'm not saying that's going to happen every time, but that's a pretty strong stat. And that would knock out the likes of Crystal Black, who's at the top of the market, Sea King, who's also at the top end of the market. The rest are all drawn high, so it's not such an issue. Have a look through. So last year, stalls 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the first 5 finishers all were drawn 9 and above. So for me, you're looking at 9 and above. So where to go here? Unfortunately, let's go. I'm going to do it by draw. There we go. So one of the horses that I do really like, and has got tied in form, they're all, because there's a few of them in here. You've got Crystal Black, Saturn, Deacon. So Saturn doesn't run here, but Saturn ties in form with the favourite. So Deacon was a horse I really liked. Drawn 21, perfect, no issue with that. Comes in here off a rate 9 out of 12 were rated 95 to 102. Comes here in 97. Around 8 to 1. For Connections, who, if I've got this right, I believe won this race last year. Yep, Joseph O'Brien, I've absolutely something sushi. They won this race last year. Really like the horse. My issue is Joseph's form. Joseph's form this week has not been there. Like, obviously, I put up as my next best yesterday, Rogue Millennium. Yeah, she finished 5th, beaten 4.5 lengths. But when the RPRs come back, I'd say that's probably not the best piece of form going. And I think those RPRs will be well below what she's been capable of. So Joseph currently is operating, he's 2 for 42 at 5% strike rate. His horses just are not flourishing at Ascot so far. Don't get me wrong, by the time you watch this, he may have had a good day on day 3. So that's as quick as it turns, and why I like to give these videos just come out as late as possible. So to put it simply, he's on my radar, but I'll wait to see how it come day 3. Another horse that stood out for me, who again ticks the boxes, a 4-year-old, doesn't come off a win last time, but comes off a second, and that was Shadow Dance. So Shadow Dance hasn't had a run this season, which I don't really like, but at the same time, Roger Varian knows how to lay him out. The second behind Alcazib, I think, will be strong, and drawn in stall 19. But unfortunately, as absolutely boring as it is the absolute standout is the horse of Willie Mullins, which is Ethical Diamond, currently around 3 to 1. I've got no idea. Will you get 4s tomorrow? Maybe. Will you get 4s later today? Maybe. I don't really know what to tell you. Like, I mean, you could have no bet in the race. I said Shadow Dance at a bigger price, but I don't like the fact that he's not had a run. Deakin, if O'Brien comes further on, as in if Joseph O'Brien shows some form today, but I just think the standout is Ethical Diamond. But unfortunately, I saw him, he was at 8s and then 6s, and I thought, oh, well, he's not going to go mad. He opened up at 4 to 1, and then last night I checked and he was 3 to 1, 5 to 2 in places. So unfortunately, we're going to have a look and see. Yeah, he's 5 to 2 best price at the moment. That could end up a good price, but again, I'll just wait and see how the market moves on this. But he's not priced just up on hype or form. As I've said, like 4 or 5-year-olds, positive. Arriving off a win, he finished second, okay. Drawn double figures, he's drawn high. Fav or Joint Fav is a tick, he's the favourite. And 95 to 102, he's off a mark of 94. But all that aside, obviously we know how good he was, how highly they thought of him with regards to Triumph. But more importantly, it was the fact that his run last time out over 10 furlongs, he finished behind Saturn off a mark of 89. So Saturn ran that day off 80. Saturn's now rated £12 higher, having finished 3rd behind Crystal Black and then won again. And this is where I say the form ties in, because Crystal Black and Deakin finished 1st and 2nd ahead of Saturn, giving them both weight, which is why the reason I haven't mentioned Crystal Black was because I believe Crystal Black's drawn really low. Yeah, Crystal Black's 5 to 1 favourite but drawn stall 4. That is just a no-go for me, having mentioned the stats. So for me, I think the two that I like are Ethical Diamond and Deakin, but I will wait to see how Joseph gets on, and I'll wait to see how the price goes. I mean, I don't want to be back in a 2 to 1 shot in a race with 20 plus runners. So we'll wait and see. 5 to 2 is probably the lowest I'd want to go. So on to the 505, the Sandringham Stakes. So again, let's have a few stats here. This is where my nap of the day comes. So 24 out of 29 were in the top 6 of the market. 21 out of 29 had a previous win to their name, with 8 out of 13 drawn in the top 4 or bottom 4 of the rail. So what I mean by that is you're either drawn 1 to 4 or you're drawn, in this case, drawn 33, 32, 31 or 30. So 9 out of 12 were rated 91 or higher. And right, apologies, I've just messed it up because of the draws. Right, there we go. Right, back to where I want it to be. I'm not going to beat around the bush here. There's a lot of horses in here who you can make a case for. It's a competitive Royal Ascot handicap. Absolutely zero doubt about this. But one horse that went straight in my tracker, straight to the top of my tracker, and I thought, you're getting a handicap at some point. No idea what price it'll be. And that is Indelible. Currently best price as of now, so this time is 11.45. William Hill and Ladbrokes is 9 to 2, and there's still 4 to 1. Bet365 and Corals, Bet Victor and a few others. So I've got no idea how the market's going to move. This could be 3-1, 5-2 tomorrow. You could get bigger. I think the market will catch this. I think people aren't looking at it. This is why I do the previews early. And yeah, it's sad. Like, obviously, like yesterday, I'd have loved to go to the races, but I'm watching the 2-year-old races, looking for form lines later in the week. And that's why I try and catch these prices, because I don't want to be back in this at 2-1 tomorrow if I could have had it at 9-2 or 5-1. And that horse is Indelible. Ralph Beckett horse, Hector Crouch. Hector Crouch, I think, has got better and better as a jockey. I like the second run in front of Sinusosia. Sinusosia is now currently rated 84, and he beat that horse at the end of the season in Lingfield. However, the race that absolutely stood out was the Doncaster Novice Stakes. This race has the capability to be a very, very strong novice stakes. I don't understand the circumstance to why it happened, but for whatever reason, a lot of trainers targeted this with very, very good novices or horses that they expected to be one of their best. So, Indelible, go back and watch this race. So this is the 6:15 Doncaster on the 31st of May. I'd go back and watch this race because Indelible, I think even Callum Rodriguez wasn't sure what he had underneath him, because the market. English Harbour was 3-1 joint favourite with Amphius. I know that Harry Charlton and Roger Varian both really like that horse. And in third was Sword, also 9-2, also really liked by John Gosden. But this Indelible was sat in behind, travelling like very, very strongly, travelling as well as Amphius, and they come up alongside, and this horse was travelling. And then, but the difference was once Indelible pushed the button, he was ridden out, and he wasn't even ridden out fully, and he just went past them like they were standing still. I just thought it was so impressive. English Harbour, who finished fourth in that race, and I said that they've liked, had finished behind Almacam, not far behind Almacam. Almacam since this year, and that was in April, so that was recent. It's not like it was a long time ago. Almacam then went on to beat Kilcooley and then finished sixth in the St James's Palace, and is now rated 112, and that's before the sixth in the St James's Palace Stakes. Sword in third has not got much form to go on. And then Amphius, who is the joint favourite, finished 3 1/4 lengths behind Economics, and obviously and also finished behind Under Siege and Clovehitch. So Clovehitch, Amphius finished half a length behind Clovehitch. Clovehitch is rated 102 now. Under Siege doesn't have a mark, and Economics is obviously rated 116. So Amphius was in 3 1/4 lengths of Economics, who is now rated 116. Finished half a length behind Clovehitch, who is rated 102. So Amphius finished half a length behind Indelible. Indelible is coming here off a mark of 91. So let's just go back. I know I'm going on about it, but I did say this was my nap of the day, so I like to cover it properly. So let's just go back and look again. So Indelible's off a mark of 91, having beaten Amphius 94, half a length, having not really come off the bridle. Well, it did come off the bridle, having not been fully pushed out, is the better way of putting it. Amphius, prior to that, had finished half a length behind Clovehitch, who is now rated 102, clearly improving since, but 102, and Economics, who is rated 116, finished 3 1/4 lengths behind. So of course those horses are improving with racing and time, so nothing is literal, but I just think this horse could have any amount in hand. And my biggest fear would be, well, obviously there could be other horses with a similar sort of thing, but at the end of the day, I don't want to sit here and give you 6-4 Opera Singer as my nap of the day. I do really, really like this horse, and that is going to be my nap of the day. And the fact that they're drawn, the right draw as well, drawn stall 4, all those positives, all those stats I mentioned at the start, ticks every box. Going to have one other bet in the race, and that is for a trainer who has won this twice in the last 10 years. That is the other end, not drawn 4 in, but drawn 5 in, and that's at the other side of the track, just in case there's a track bias. Because don't forget, you can have the best horse in the race, but if you're drawn the wrong side, you've got no chance. And that is Cat Ninja. So Cat Ninja, again, I'm going back to Clovehitch form lines. Cat Ninja is for John Gosden and Kieran Schumacher, and Cat Ninja beat Clovehitch. And as I've just mentioned, Clovehitch has gone on to improve, no doubt. But Cat Ninja, Clovehitch had a run, that run that I mentioned when finishing behind Economics. He then came out next time and was sent off 5-2 to beat Cat Ninja. Both of them pulled 11 1/2 lengths clear of the field, fighting out to the finish. and Cat Ninja got the best of Clove Hitch. Clove Hitch has then gone on to win again since, and is now been put up £12 and is now off a mark of 102. So we're looking, again, I know obviously this doesn't always correlate, but I'm just trying to find a perspective. We're looking at form lines of two or three runners, 2 or 3 runs under their belt. So it's the best you can work with. So Cat Ninja beat Clove Hitch half a length. Clove Hitch is now running off a mark of 102. Cat Ninja is in here off a mark of 91. So you're telling me that if Cat Ninja and Clove Hitch beat, if they meet in a handicap, so if they were in here, then Clove Hitch would have to give Cat Ninja £11, despite the fact that Cat Ninja beat him last time out. Cat Ninja did go on to then be beaten over 7 furlongs next time out, but I just thought they made too much of the horse and he hit the front too early. But at the same time, when you're trying to keep your handicap mark down, you don't want to be winning anyway. So bottom line is, I do actually like Cat Ninja as well, but the difference is I'm not telling you to cover on a tiny price. Cat Ninja is currently 25 to 1. Coral, Ladbrokes, 20s general. You got Bet Victor at 22s. So you're looking at a 20 to 25 to 1 shot. So they're my 2 selections. Indelible's the nap and is about 9 to 2. I'd probably back him anywhere to 3 to 1 above. I know it sounds ridiculous in a handicap, but that's just what I'm saying. And he's not 3 to 1, so you get 9 to 2. Right, on to the King Edward Stakes, the 12 furlong. So have a look at this. So the Irish have only had 3 wins in the last 48 years in this race. All of them have been Aidan O'Brien, but he does tend to send his lesser horses here. He's also had 5 out of 10 losing favourites. So it's not like they all rattle home. And the fact that he's sent multiple horses here says that he doesn't actually know which one's obviously his best. There's a horse here, again, obviously I've been talking about taking a flyer on a short one. Oh, price has gone a little bit. Okay. His price is still there. This would be my big long shot of the day, and that's Macduff. So I was going to put him up at 33s, but I wanted to make sure the YouTubers got him first. He's now 25. So of 11.50, you can get 25s, and there's still 20s general. So 25s with Bet Victor, Coral, Ladbrokes. You can get 20s plus with 365 Sky Bet. You'll probably be able to get 25s across the board, but I'm just going off the Race and Post website because I can't load up odds checker every 3 seconds because it just rejects, obviously, with the new pay to view odds checker. So you're probably still going to get 25s. He's my each way bet in the race. I'm going to look at another second selection in the race, but I haven't decided who it is. I'm not a massive fan of Space Legend. And Diego Velasquez, I think his form is just as good as Mondo Man, and Mondo Man's 16 to 1. I think Mondo Man's interesting at 16 to 1. He's got a wide draw, which is no negative. And I just think he's improving with each run. He's been campaigned in tough races. Last time out, he also ran in the Prickstew Jockey Club, 10 furlongs. He finished ahead of Diego Velasquez. Diego Velasquez was drawn wide, but Mondo Man was also drawn wide. Mondo Man did his running late on, whereas Diego Velasquez tired late on. So it'd be no surprise for him to run a big race at 16 to 1. And I also prefer, I actually like Agenda. I think also got an interesting profile, having slammed Huxley at Dundalk, then went to the Chester trial when finishing behind the ill-fated Hidden Law, who would have bolted up. But in behind that horse also won that race by 10 lengths from Grosvenor Square. So if you took Hidden Law out, Agenda would have gone off a fair price for the Derby because Grosvenor Square was 7 to 4. So it's more than likely my 2 selections will probably end up there. The other 4 interesting horses, Caledongan, who won a Group 3 last time out. But my concern there was the fact that all the running's been done on heavy ground. If they improve for the faster ground, then okay, maybe a big player. The key aspect from this is the fact that I'm fairly keen to take on Space Legend. Diego Velasquez I'm unsure on yet, but the 2 at the top of my shortlist, Macduff I've already backed each way, 33s, 25s, 20s, anything 20s and above I'd be happy with. But Mondo Man and Agenda are top of my list, but I will put a tweet out later on to say who I've gone with. And finally, the 6.15. So the 6.15 is the Hollyrood House Stakes. Jubilee Walk is not known as the handicap good thing, but there's been a lot of strong talk for this horse already. And they were talking about supplementing for better races than this, which makes you think that obviously of the mark, the handicap mark, that he could be a good thing in here. However, backers beware. Few stats. Top 6 in the weights have never finished better than 8th in this race. There's only been 4 renewals so far of this race, I believe. And the top 6 in the weights are... Oh, what have I done here? Why is that not working? There we go. Top 6 in the weights, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jubilee Walk, ranked in there as number 5 in the race. So if you want a negative against him, that would be a negative. All 4 have finished 12 to 1 or shorter. All 4 winners have been 12 to 1 or shorter. Last year, the 1, 2, 3, 4 were all 12 to 1 or less. And in 2021, the first 6 in the betting were all finished in the first 5. So at the end of the day, it's definitely no negative to sit on your hands a little bit and wait for close to the time. So, but from all of that, it sounds like what you want is a high drawn horse. So for me, a high drawn horse for last year's connections would be Nairo Halley of Archie Watson and James Doyle. This is a horse where you're going to have to take a bit of a leap and a bit of trust, because obviously they only ran at Chelmsford, Wolverhampton and Newcastle. But at the same time, last year they won it with such a similar profile horse. They won it with Riverman Hooves. Riverman Hooves, coming into this race, had also won Wolverhampton, Newcastle, Chelmsford. Had one race at York where the horse finished 3 3/4 lengths, beaten 10th of 18, and then came to Ascot and got up by a neck to win. Ran off a mark of 87, running to 99. So can we find any similarities? Let's have a look. Oh look, runs off a mark of 90 and has already ran to 99. So basically runs off £3 higher, but has already ran to a mark of 99. So on that sort of like completely ridiculous, unfathomed conclusion that I've made, I'd say the horse probably only needs to improve maybe £3 to £5 off his RPR achieved last time to go close here. Archie Watson's been very positive about him. He said that he thinks he's going to be a proper sprinter in the future. I love Archie Watson, 5 furlong and 6 furlong horses on good ground at Ascot. James Doyle's in the saddle. He's decided he's riding. Obviously, is there any sort... No, that's the only Wafnan horse. Obviously purchased by Wafnan as well, so that's no negative. And yeah, I'm pretty hopeful of this one. Currently priced around 10 to 1. I mean, these sort of sprints and stuff, one side will outrun the other side. But as I've said, like, I'll quickly flash back to those stats again. It's been all about high numbers. First 6 in the betting. I did do horse drawn. Of the last 4 races, no horse has placed in the first 4 drawn 10 or lower. So they've all been above. So if you're looking at the odds now, so if you're 10 or lower, you've got Jubilee Walk is 8 to 1 favourite. Dorney Lake is 3rd in the betting. Mukafar is drawn 9. So that's 3. If you're just going on stats, I'm not saying stats are the way to go. That's 3 that technically could run out. But at the same time, it's only had 4 renewals, so it's a very, very weak pool of run-ins for me to stand there. I may have a second bet, but I do really like Diarily, and that's my only selection so far. So let's have a recap. This is bet summaries for day 4 of Royal Ascot, the Friday. So we have 2:30 at Royal Ascot, Fairy Godmother, win bet. I think this horse will probably drift to around 2 to 1, and I'll also back Heaven's Gate. But if you're looking for one at a big price to get a good run for your money, California Dreamer. If she drifts out and on the exchanges or whatever, and she's like 30s, I'll be having a small play on her as well. Commonwealth Cup 305. Elite Status is the win bet at 4 to 1, and as of 11:57 there is 4 to 1 still. Inner Sharon will likely be my cover at 9 to 4, 5 to 2. I've explained the reasoning why for both already. 3:45 Opera Singer. If you have the 4 to 1 and you wanted to look for another one, then in fact no, I'm just going to say Opera Singer. She goes for it. Opera Singer. I think she'll drift to 2 to 1 or maybe bigger again. But again, if Aidan O'Brien wins everything on day 3, she won't drift. On to 4:25, the Duke of Edinburgh. So Ethical Diamond, 5 to 2. I'm hoping you're going to get 5 to 2 or bigger. I haven't took a price yet. I'm hoping we might get a few boosts or something a bit bigger, because whilst I respect the chances, I don't really want it to play at such a short price. I'd like to get a bigger price. But the 2 that stand out were Crystal Black and Deacon, but Crystal Black's drawn low. So Deacon, if Joseph's horses are in better form than today, then he'll become a play tomorrow. 5:05, as of 12 o'clock, the prices are still there. You still get 9 to 2 and 4 to 1. Indelible. Indelible's the nap of the day. I'm not saying this doesn't mean if you bet 1 point a race, you then go and put 10 points on Indelible. That's not what I mean at all. It's just the fact that at a price, Indelible I really like. This is still a 29 runner handicap. So you can get boxed in, all sorts of things can happen. But if you're asking me for a nap, 9-2, Indelible, let's go. However, as I said, I'm not saving. I'm having another bet on Cat Ninja, currently 25-1. Might be massive price on exchanges, 30s or 40s, don't know. Onto the 540, we're going big again, and nice each way bet on Macduff. That's my only bet in the race currently so far. He bombed in the Derby when I put him up as my second selection behind City of Troy. There's still loads of 25-1 available, and I think he's a big player. He's got the wide draw, which is no negative in this race. The Irish don't have a great record, and I think there'll probably be he'll hopefully outrun his price. In the 615, we've got Diarali, who is currently priced around 10-1. You can get that Ladbrokes, Coral, Bet Victor, and potentially a few others. So they are all my selections. Obviously, I've given you a nap for the day. I will be hoping that Opera Singer does the business as well, but we shall see. I'm just going to quickly flick through to Saturday. Bedtime story. Okay. So I just want to flick through because I haven't even looked at declarations yet. So on Saturday, the Hardwick Stakes, I put Desert Hero up at 14-1. Looks like he's going to be around 7s to 10s. He's still an each way bet, but I will look to find another selection in that race. That's the Hardwick Stakes. I haven't looked at the sprint yet. So River Tiber looks like he's going to be priced at 2-1, and Hartem at 10-3. That looks a 2-horse race to me. My selection would be River Tiber. I'm hoping that he'll turn the form. Now he's got that run in the belt. We've seen what happens. River Tiber, and he's also getting £3. Did he get £3 in the Guineas? No, he didn't. So that would be double fold. So River Tiber would be the selection for me. However, if you're a more cautious punter, I will be disappointed if something else wins out of this race. So if you're a more cautious punter, I'm not saying put more money on, because that's not the way I want people to do things. But if you're going to put, say, 2 points is your stake, if you put 1.5 points on River Tiber at 2-1, you can have 0.5 points on Hartem at 3-1. Well, he's 10-3. He probably might be 7-2 or whatever. Say 10-3. Then if Hartem wins, you win your money back. If River Tiber wins, you get 1.5. You get 4.5. So you get 2.5 points profit. So you're basically turning the 2-1 into a 5-4 shot, but you've got full cover on Hartem. I'm not saying, I'm not here to tell you what to do. My selection would be River Tiber, but I just think it's not a bad way of playing the game if you're more risk averse. And of the rest, I have not looked yet. So yeah, those are the only ones that I've looked at so far on Saturday. Saturday will be a quieter day for me. It normally is anyway, because it's just the day where it's a bit more of a bookies day where they take their money back. And also, if you look at last year, if you want to have a look at Saturday and you're thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to steam into Saturday because it's the day where everyone's in the pub, have a look at the results from last year on the Saturday. It was brutal. I'm pretty sure that was when we had 150-1 winner. No, it wasn't 150-1 winner. It was, it kicked off with a 12-1 winner, and then we had the sprint. I remember the sprint, six furlong sprint. We had Cardem winning at 80-1. I just remember it being a bloodbath. So anyway, as you can see, I am pretty pumped and buzzing. England game tonight. I know I've got quite a big Irish following, so apologies for donning the shirt, but no apologies. It's the Euros. So good luck to everyone going to Royal Ascot. Good luck to everyone punting Royal Ascot. All I say is just tread carefully, because it's not Cheltenham. If I'm not going to go into stake sizes and stuff like that, it is brutal. It can be brutal. You can have 4 rubbish days and then pick up 5 winners on the Saturday, and if you've staked right, then you end up profiting the week because the prices are so much bigger. But at the same time, if you're backing 10-1 shots, on average, you should lose 9 out of those 10-1 shots. It's just whether you can link 2 or 3 together, and then you're laughing. So at the end of the day, enjoy it. Play your own game, and good luck. Thank you very much for watching, and if you're not subscribing, please click the link below. Goodbye.